First of all, there are many tribes in the world that are known to have been cannibals at some point, or even very recently. But as things are now, it's been on a sharp decline for hundreds of years. Second of all, there are 3 causes for the majority of cannibalism in world history. That's spirituality/cultural norms, that's one reason, not 2. Starvation, and being out of your mother frickin' mind. Starvation and insanity are pretty self-explanatory and well documented in all cultures, but spirituality and cultural norms, though, this is a bigger topic. It's also the primary motivation behind the cannibalism of the only known cannibal culture today, the Korowai. The Korowai are a people group from the Indonesian side of the island New Guinea. Before the 1970s, they had never had contact with outsiders, and the effects of that incredibly recent isolation live on in many clans' continued perception of Westerners as ghosts. I mean white people as ghosts. Because we're white, like ghosts. But the Korowai are a deeply religious people, and have a rich oral tradition of myths depicting the many spirits of their world. One of the worst is called the Khakhua. A Khakhua is an evil spirit that possesses a human's body, and brings about bad luck, destruction, and disease to those around them. This is where the cannibalism comes in. Unfortunately, much like the Salem witch hunts, the only way to fight back against these spirits is to kill them. But unlike witches, you have to eat these ones. That means that in the minds of the Korowai, they don't eat people at all, actually, but they do have to eat the bodies of their poor fellow tribesmen that have been possessed by an evil spirit so that their children may be safe. They don't eat people, they eat Khakhua. Kinda seems sad when you put it that way, huh? Why did I think this would be a fun video idea? Okay, but there are less sad reasons. To some people, like the Wari, their historical cannibalism was actually an act of compassion. Eating their loved ones and fellow tribesmen was a way of respecting them. The spiritual idea at play here was that eating their bodies would transfer their souls into the living so that their ghosts wouldn't be doomed to roam the rainforest forever. They are from Brazil and have nothing to do with the pre-Inca people called the Wari of Peru, so you can rest easy, the one single Peruvian historian that will ever watch this video. These guys aren't the same guys. But those are both examples of ENDOcannibalism, meaning the eating of someone from within your own group. Many peoples, like the Fiji Islanders, are famous for their EXOcannibalism, meaning the eating of someone from not Endo. Their cannibalism was so famous that for a long time Fiji was known as the Cannibal Islands. Ratu Udre Udre, or Ratu Utter Utter, was a chief here who even holds the Guinness World Record of most prolific cannibal in history, with over 872 people in his belly. The historic EXOcannibals of Fiji and a few tribes from South America and New Guinea do unfortunately have some stories of abducting and eating foreign visitors, but the Fijian people are the only ones to have ever apologized for it, a few generations later, at least. Much of the famous mythology and fiction about cannibalism probably stems from stories like those of Reverend Thomas Baker, in which he came to Fiji to teach the locals Methodist Christianity in 1867. His story is very short, because it ends when he touched his chief's head, not knowing that that's basically the biggest dickhead move in the entire world to the Fijians, and, he pretty much got chopped up, so that sucks for him, but it explains where the stories come from. Yes, it seems that it is hard for me to argue in defense of homicidal cannibalism in comparison to necrocannibalism, because the big bad no-no from almost every single culture on planet Earth is murder. But I will try by reminding you that violence from tribal people almost always comes from a place of fear, and cannibalism is almost always a spiritually significant thing for its practitioners. Even when it is done out of cruelty or warfare, you can't tell me that tribal savages are the only people on Earth capable of war. You also can't tell me that eating someone is much worse than killing in the first place. Plus, they may have cultural values directly in opposition to food waste. Oh yeah, cultural values. This happens to be most people's reason for not eating people. It's possible that you're sitting there right now, understanding everything I'm saying about why someone would choose to eat another human, but maybe you're still disgusted. That's fair. But allow me to present the idea that to most of us, the body is sacred. It doesn't matter if you ascribe religious value to it. The way we see the body in most cultures is that it represents the person inside of it. Essentially, if you disrespect the body, you disrespect the person. And as a person with a rockin' body, I'd feel pretty disrespected if you ate me too. But not everyone thinks the same way. Remember the Wari? To them, eating someone shows that you liked them. It's the opposite of disrespectful. Even in warrior cultures, in which your enemy is eaten, there is almost always the idea that you are taking on their strength or knowledge by making them a part of you. That's almost a compliment. I don't know. But hopefully you see my point. And really think about this. What if human meat is really good? Hey, don't look at me like that. It's a hypothetical and entirely possible. If you were wondering though, apparently human meat tastes like pork, so It's just possible. In reality, guys, I know I said cannibalism is still a thing, but it's so rare today that it's almost negligible. Most of it is perpetrated by warlords and cultists as a way of indoctrinating and controlling soldiers, but none of these tribes I've talked about today still perform cannibalism except for the Khakhua, and the Khakhua are suspected by many anthropologists of only pretending to still be cannibals for the tourism money. Seriously. If there is widespread cannibalism left in any tribes today, it'd have to be within one of the still uncontacted tribes that are growing fewer and fewer. I guess what I'm trying to say with this video is that the common perception of cannibalism as an irredeemable evil really isn't getting the whole picture. As usual, the reality is a lot more complex than it first appears. I mean, look at this guy. Does he look evil? Does he look evil? The ability to feel that much wonder over a stick bug, I'm pretty sure is exclusively possessed by good people. Is cannibalism tragic? Sometimes, definitely, yes. But is it understandable? If you try really hard to see things from someone else's perspective. You don't have to accept their reasoning yourself to understand how someone from a very harsh and confusing environment could hold the beliefs that they do. Is it any coincidence that all the cultures in the world that have had a tradition of cannibalism are from immensely hostile circumstances? Plus, we all believe what we're told as kids, and we all need a cope or two in this world. So maybe it's not that cannibalism is inherently evil, but that life on Earth, and especially in nature, is hard. And God, nature, can push us toward behaviors we need until we are fed enough, secure enough, or knowledgeable enough to question our own beliefs. Shouldn't our actions be judged based on the context of the culture we are from, rather than those of another culture that doesn't understand us? If you agree with me, I just tricked you guys into learning the concept of cultural relativism. Take that, you whores! Cultural relativism is not the same thing as moral relativism. Check out the second Culture Shock recap whenever that's out for more information. Bye.